I was watching TV the other day, and this show comes on with these religious fanatics. They were crazy. Well, you would think they were crazy if you didn't understand their culture and their religion. See, that's just the thing. They were worshipers of idols, and they took things to extremes. They painted their bodies. They wore these ridiculous costumes. They chanted, they danced, they made sacrifices to their idols. They had built these enormous temples to worship their idols in. It seemed like their entire existence climaxed into this one scenario, this one over-the-top act of worship. You don't really relate, do you? Let's try it again. I was watching TV the other day, and this show comes on with these religious fanatics. They were crazy. See, that's just the thing. They were worshipers of idols, and they took things to extremes. They painted their bodies. They wore these ridiculous costumes. They chanted, they danced, they made sacrifices to their idols. They had built these enormous temples to worship their idols in. It seemed like their entire existence climaxed into this one scenario, this one over-the-top act of worship. Idol worship. It's not just about golden calves anymore.
In America these days, idols are everywhere.
If you wait too long, it'll be too late.
We've got music idols like Britney and Madonna. We've got sports idols. We've got fashion idols. We've got political idols.
Thank you!
We've even got a show where we make idols.
Every step you climb another mountain.
It's as if there's a need, a hunger in America to idolize. But wait a minute. That's pop culture. That's modern life. That's not this, what they showed in the Ten Commandments movie.
And they worship the golden calf.
Is it?
The human heart is an idol factory.
Mark Driscoll is the pastor of the Mars Hill Church in Seattle, and he would like a moment of your attention.
Keep yourselves from idols.
Pastor Mark, as everyone calls him, is one of the new leaders of what's known as the Emergent Church, a 21st century movement that is shaking up Christian worship in America. And he's focused much of his teaching on American idols.
What's an idol?
An idol is someone or something that occupies the place of God in your life, preeminent, prominent, the center of your life, most important person or thing, gives you identity, meaning, value, purpose, love, significance, security. When the Bible uses the word idol, that's what it's getting at.
In Driscoll's theology, every person has a deep inner need to worship something. That's just how people are made, he says.
Merciful love.
And so if you worship alcohol, you become an alcoholic. If you worship food, you become a glutton. If you worship pleasure, you become a sex addict. If you worship a partner, you become codependent. And so all of the modern counseling vernacular is really not dealing with the root issue of idolatry. Someone or something's preeminent other than God.
Shock and disbelief around the world.
By the sudden death of
pop star Michael Jackson,
the artist behind the best-selling album of all time.
Think of how millions of people reacted to the death of Michael Jackson.
I can't imagine the world without him.
Farewell, Michael. Love you.
Maybe Pastor Mark is onto something here.
When his face is on your t-shirt, when you listen to his music for hours, when you give large sums of money to him personally, when his death causes you to go into a steep depression and you have a collection of memorabilia, I think if you walked in from another culture, you would say, that's a very curious God that they've chosen.
And when we turn a person, say a celebrity, into an icon, an idol, a god, what does that do to them?
Destroys them. Because they invariably disappoint. People can't do what God does. They're not perfect. They're not continually faithful. They don't endure forever. That's why we live in a culture that when the heroes fall, we're devastated. People are absolutely devastated, while others rejoice because they're cynical.
Pastor Mark took us on a tour of Seattle, his city, a place he'll tell you packed with idol worship and idol worshipers. From the strip club across the street,
Nature, the
women.
bounty of the earth, and
and naked women.
to the office towers.
How many people right now are sacrificing their health? They go to the job every day and they are literally offering themselves as a human sacrifice for this company or this position or this income or lifestyle.
We passed the headquarters of Starbucks.
I think you've got the Starbucks image way up there.
It's high and exalted. It's up where God's supposed to be. It's in a preeminent position of glory. We can all see it.
And then there was the football stadium.
It's kind of like the Colosseums.
I think if a sporting event was going on and somebody was dropped in from Israel 2,000 years ago, they would definitely think they were at a religious event.
Okay, I get it. Driscoll is arguing that it's unhealthy, unnatural, all this quasi-religious worship of pop stars and swimsuit models and whomever. But what would a life be like without it?
You spoke.
A lot of young people attend the Mars Hill Church, and they have found inspiration in Pastor Mark's condemnation of what he sees as the idolatry rampant in America.
So we're going to hang out here.
So we met up with a few of the younger Mars Hill members at where else in Seattle? A coffee shop for a chat.
I think for me, my idol was academic success.
Like so many young people in America, they've all faced the ferocious pressures of the culture, pressure to succeed, to worship what everyone else does.
Body image is a huge thing. I go down to work out at our gym, mirrors all the way around, and it's basically a temple.
If you don't look however, whatever the way is that the culture is saying at that time, then you don't have as much worth. And it's just a lie.
Is it hard to resist? Is it hard to hang on to what you believe in a culture which is telling you something so different?
I would say part of why we believe so strongly in these idols and the worship of these idols is we have all experienced the dissatisfaction. We've all been there. I mean, we are fallen people. We all mess up. We're not perfect.
And so the lesson may be, if there is something in human nature that's always seeking greatness, that longs to worship, be careful what you choose.
So in the end, the commandment that to many people might look like it doesn't have a lot of relevance to us.
Maybe the most relevant commandment of all.